What's up, y'all? I'm back again, again. And you already know what you see on the screen. I just recently heard about this, so I'm not as well versed, but from what I looked at regarding the court trial, I'll tell you what I think after this video.
How is this legal? So some moms have started a movement online called Me Too Lindsay, justifying their thoughts of getting rid of their kids. Then you got people saying stuff like this.
Stop thinking about these kids as people and think about them as ceramic vases for just 1 second for me, okay?
Now they want us to not look at the kids as people, but as objects that she broke. And now her GoFundMe is at $1 million. Yo, is this a mass psychosis going on that we're witnessing? How is this not a criminal offense? They've been having rallies outside the courtroom for days, happily saying that yes, we were in her position. Yes, we wanted to get rid of our kids as well. And you still have the delusional people that believe she didn't do it. Mind you, her Apple Watch shows that she was going up and down the stairs at the same time the husband was at the store on camera. She even called that man. Where are child services? Where are the cops? Because if I got online and said I want to do that to my kids, I don't have no kids, but if I did have kids, yo, these cops would have been at my door and I'd have been locked up right now. More and more, I'm starting to see why less people want to have kids and less people want to be in a relationship.
All right, first off, this is the type of woman that would post explicit pictures of herself online, complain about men objectifying her, but then you want us to have a honest discourse as you sit here and want us to imagine the death of 3 children as ceramic vases. Wouldn't that by definition mean you are objectifying the children? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. But I would think that is adjacent to objectification of another individual. Just that it's not in a inappropriate sense. It's more in a we just want to see you in a look like a TV for a second, so I can make my argument. And I've been hearing about this word psychosis going around here and there. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a full verse understanding of it, so I'm about to pull that up real quick. I think it's Psychosis. I think that's how you spell it. I think I misspelled it here. Yeah, because I put an H in there. Psychosis is a mental state marked by a disconnect from reality. A person experiencing psychosis may struggle to tell what is real and what is not. It is a symptom of an underlying health issue rather than a standalone illness. So it is a byproduct of something else. Approximately 3% of people experience psychosis in their lifetime. Very small number. Hallucinations, hearing, seeing, feeling, tasting. So basically, it can affect any of the senses. Delusion, strong false beliefs not based in shared reality, such as paranoia or thinking others want to harm you. Disorganized speech. Okay. Now, I remember a health professional of Lindsay's came on a trial and stated that she didn't get any observations that she fall under this description. So, and even then, why would this remove the responsibility of her being sent to jail or put it under the jail at this point? When men have mental illnesses, we just chalk it up as them being violent. We don't even, I can't remember the last time I seen or heard a man be able to have their health professional or their primary care doctor come up and defend them or not defend them or just give their observation of their client or their patient. I rarely see that when men do things as egregious as this. It's usually the book is just thrown at them. They still get their trial, but most people in their mind, including the judge, has already decided how they want to move with this person. So here's what I don't like about this trial. And this is not due to anything that was explicitly presented in the trial. What I don't like about this trial is how long-winded it is, in my opinion. I think that if this was a man, this trial would have been a lot quicker based on historical recent data. Secondly, I don't like the fact, and I could be wrong on that historical data, but from my observation, when this is when we do a gender swap on this, I would not see this trial lasting any longer than this. I just don't see it happening. Secondly, the other thing I don't like, and again, this is just personal. I don't like the fact that something in my gut tells me if they decide to punish this woman, and as they should, by the way, as they should, and sentence her, I have a strong feeling with no evidence that it would be due to the fact of social pressure. It will be due to society making the court and the jury feel peer pressure to make the right decision, not because they see that all the evidence points to her. And that leads me to something else. If that's the case, even if we can't prove or disprove that to be true, the only people who would know that that's why they did it would be the judges, the judge, and the jury, and the prosecutor. Well, not the prosecutor, the defendant. They're the only ones who would know in their mind and heart that they only accepted this woman going to jail because, or decided to let that happen because of the fact that of societal pressure right now. Because there's a huge uproar where women are trying to support while men is pushing back, along with women that have some fucking common sense. So and this has happened before, where many times before, I think earlier this year, where the judge, and I think this was due, if I recall, this was about a black individual, I think a young black man. If I recall, I've seen cases recently where the judge and the jury made the right decision. You could kind of feel it in the room. You know, when you ever talk to somebody and they didn't show you any obvious signs, but you could feel it that they don't fuck with you. That now imagine that same impression, but it's not that they don't fuck with you. It's more so you get the feeling that they're only making the right decision right now, even though the evidence proves that this is true, because of the uproar regarding the case. So because there's so much attention on the case, the judge and jury is making the better call. And in my perspective, if this is called the justice system, I expect justice. So we should not get the impression that our justice system is going to make any decision due to social pressure of the country that the justice system operates in. You should just be able to make the decision based on the evidence that was presented. If the evidence, 90% plus of the evidence, points to this specific individual, in this example, Lindsay, offing her children, then nothing else matters. Even if everybody on the planet saying you need to put this person in jail, they should be able to walk away and say, We feel like from what we observe off the court hearing that they made the right decision, not because of us pressuring them, but because they knew that this motherfucker was guilty. That's what we should feel. But time and time again, we don't see that happening. And honestly, I'm gonna say this because I haven't seen a video yet that said this. If she gets criminally charged for offering her children, if they don't give her ass life, it's by design. I've heard the average man plug talk about things being by design, usually about the dating stuff and the gender wars. And I've always thought that since this stuff went down. Since I think that if they do not give her life, this shit is by design. It's all intentional. And it's due to a ultimate goal that is not common knowledge yet amongst us. And the goal, I think, is for people who is controlling the narrative, from the news channels to the police departments to law enforcement agencies. I think that they're all working in tandem as collectives to overall push a certain outcome that affects the population as a whole. And right now, the major thing that is affecting this population and other world populations is the gender divide. This division is so devastating that you have women who hate men so deeply due to the horrific perspectives that this latest wave, and I would say the third wave of feminism, has pushed into the mindsets of young women, that they're supporting a cold stone killer. That's terrible. And this gender divide is so bad that it has helped the plummeting of marriage rates, is helped the plummeting of birth rates. This is all due to gender. Like, I don't think people realize how much gender division is contributing to the plummet of birth rates. Yes, is there other variables that are contributing to that? Absolutely. But the gender division is a major contributor in this day and age. Back in the day, I wouldn't say that. If we was talking about the first and second wave feminism, I would not say that a large plummet in the gender division was in the birth rates was due to gender division at the time. No. Today, oh, it's different. It's different. And I will argue, without having to live that time frame, I will argue actually majority of women would not be supporting this woman even back in the day during first and second wave feminism. It was not this toxic. From when I read about the history of feminism, the first wave especially, it was not what it is today. This is something totally different. This has nothing to do with just having fair opportunity and respect and rights as men. This has a lot more to do with just domination and control and just being evil. This is not the same feminism. I think this is by design. If she does not get life in prison, first of all, you could get life in prison just for offing one person, adult or child. She off three. So if she don't get life, this is definitely by design. And it will further fuel the gender division. Because to some degree, if she still goes to prison, but she didn't get life, it would support the benefit of women, which will further support the division, because men and the other, let's just lean on the men's side. Men who think this is some crazy ass thing that happened and ain't for it, they're gonna be even more likely to not fuck with women. So it would further support the gender division. Women who think this is crazy as hell for this woman to do, it will further support that as well. But they kind of hurt the gender division because argument because at the end of the day they're just women. So they would essentially be siding with the side of men for right now because that's how the feminist crazy women will see those types of women. They would see them as men in the terms of their mindset. This is crazy. I think this is so crazy that mm, you know, I'm not I'm not someone who personally have kids. I've never been the type to be crazy about them. Like, oh, I really want to have kids. But I'll tell you one thing. I don't care if you black, white, Asian, pink, blue, orange, reptilian. If I find out that you off kids, I'm gonna file a lawsuit against you. Cause of all people, children, of all things on the planet, children are the closest thing to God, in my opinion. Like the least dangerous thing on this planet is a baby. You could not get any least dangerous than that. This is crazy. And so one thing I want to touch on before I close, one thing I do not like about the justice system and the way it functions is that no matter if you are the prosecutor or the defendant, right? There is a level of self-interest in the way our justice system works. And what I mean is that when you take on the responsibilities on a case to be the prosecutor or defendant, you have to defend yourself. You have to prosecute yourself. And why I say that? Because this hurts your reputation if you win or lose the case. If you are defending a person, if you lose the case, this hurts your reputation. If you are prosecuting somebody and you lose the case, this hurts your reputation. This hurts your money. That to me should not be a factor that affects the outcome of cases. The goal of the justice system is to serve justice as best as possible. When you have people who work for a living, who have a history where if I don't win cases, this affects my ability to earn a living, you have a problem with your justice system. People who work to serve the justice of the people should not feel financial pressure to not do the right thing. If I'm the defendant of this woman, your ass going to jail. If I see that everything points to you, I'm not about to keep arguing in your defense. I'm going to do the right thing. Even in today's society, even the way the justice system work right now, I don't give a fuck if I don't get more cases in the future. Because people like, oh, he ain't gonna defend me well. No. I don't care about that. Because if you're just wrong, you're wrong. If we see a video that shows your husband is at point B and you back at the house, how the hell is that not showing that you just flat out wrong? And to defend behavior due to something such as psychosis does not absolve the individual from what is typically punishable in the court of law. I don't care if you saw aliens and they told you to do this or you die. If you still did this and then they leave and say, all right, we ain't good, you did what we wanted you to do, I don't care if you have evidence. You going to jail. So the way I see this, Any person, defendant in this case, who takes a case and tries to defend the innocence, which there is none, with somebody who they can clearly see did the wrong thing, you got a problem with your moral compass. Any jury or judge who see all this evidence and still come to a goofy ass conclusion that ain't life in prison right now for this person, y'all got problems with your moral compass. If somebody goes to court because and they're being accused of cutting their friend's leg off, and the evidence and the prosecutor shows the evidence of the saw, the person's DNA who's being accused of cutting their friend's leg off, the DNA is on the saw, on the handle of the saw. They were the only people that was there in the area when it happened. And they still decide, the defendant still decides to defend that. When we got video evidence, we have DNA evidence. If I was a defendant, I'd be like, bro, you done. There ain't much defending there left. There's nothing at that point, it's not even alleged anymore. It's just that you did it. And now it's, if I'm going to continue to defend you, it will be me trying to figure out how can I gaslight the jury and the judge into believing that that still wasn't you when all the evidence points to you. That's where it transitions to me. In this case, there's a lot of evidence that points to Lindsay. Very obvious evidence from cameras to the Apple Watch time frame to all this stuff. If I'm still as the defender of this woman, still defending, at this point, whether I openly admitted it or not, I am now trying to figure out a way to gaslight the jury and the judge into believing that you still didn't do it, even when it all shows you did. And the thing that they're trying to lean on the most, because it's not like you can just go into somebody's mind at the time that they did it and prove or disapprove it, is this: psychosis. My argument as a prosecutor will be that at the end of the day, as a justice system who cares about doing the right thing, even when we don't like it, psychosis is not a justification and has never been for justifying the offing of anybody's life on this planet. And it won't be today. That's what I would say. Because that's a fact. It ain't, if we defend this person and let them get anything less than life in prison, we are indirectly admitting that we are not with the intent of trying to serve justice. We are with the intent of doing what we want when we feel like it. All the more reason why I never want to be in a court. I don't want to be in the court to be a juror. I don't want to be in the court to be the judge. I don't want to be in the court to be somebody just watching. I don't want to be there, period. Because that is a place that doesn't honor what they say, especially when it comes to the lives of other people, dead or alive. This is crazy. For the women who want to even remotely make this about men versus women, the women and men who want to make this remotely the fault of a dude who wasn't even there. If you have children, CPS need to be knocking on your door. CPS need to be knocking on your door, and you need to go get a psych evaluation. You need to be questioned now. This is totally unacceptable. If the case was gray, if there was a lot of gray areas with this case, I could see these arguments between men and women. There's not a lot of gray area. There's almost none. Y'all wrong. Y'all truly wrong. Y'all sick people. Sick. These kids should still be here. Y'all are sick people. The women who think that this is acceptable, you sick. You should have never had kids. And shame on the men not doing their due care and due diligence, filtering these wild ass minded women out the equation when it came down to dating. Y'all gotta be careful who y'all mess with, because now we got a whole entourage of women with children talking about some me too. Me too. Yeah, you need to me too your ass to a psych ward. Yeah, me too that. We'll take them kids and we'll put them with a family that ain't got no goddamn problems. At that point, them kids better off in a foster care than with their biological parents. Oh yeah. I don't know what the husband was doing or thinking when his wife months earlier told him and I believe her mother or parents or whatever that she had thoughts about offering kids. But let a woman I'm married to tell me that, say less, fam. Get the hell out my house. That's it. Get the hell out my house. And I'm sending these kids somewhere where I know you can't do shit. Because whether you like me or not as your husband doesn't really matter at that point. What matters is you're not going to do nothing to some kids who have nothing to do with what's going on in your head. Y'all crazy. Y'all sick people who think like y'all sick. Y'all did this everything y'all want. Y'all be the same ones complaining about the world around you. Things taking advantage of you and hurting you. But then you come online and y'all saying some of the most disgusting, vile, spewing acid type shit I've ever seen in my life. There is nowhere in your brain should you defend this woman's behavior. I should not be seeing $1 million in a GoFundMe for this person. GoFundMe should be shutting that shit down and refunding everybody their money. What the hell is wrong with GoFundMe now? GoFundMe should have been shut down after I seen them support racists. I'm sick of this. Y'all are sick people. GoFundMe is sick in the mind, and everybody supporting this bullshit, y'all sick in the mind too. I'm out of here.